It's actually episode number 89.
89.
Yeah. I don't know how we got to that number, but if you haven't noticed, if you're not watching this live on YouTube, Joey's back.
I am back, baby.
How's it going, Joey?
I'm doing good, man. I had a lot of stuff going on, and you know what? I'm back committed. Everything's like equal now, so I'm excited.
Hey, man. The Jags, they took a couple weeks off too.
I mean,
So
honestly,
it worked out pretty
honestly,
well.
the whole reason I hadn't showed up is because I did not want to put my input on Jalen Ramsey. So I'm good now. He's gone. Now I'm back.
So I know everyone has an opinion, and we've talked till we're blue in the face. But what is your opinion on Jalen Ramsey?
My
Real
opinion on
quick.
Jalen Ramsey was he's a fantastic player. He didn't want to be here, and he's a complete lying punk face, man. I mean, dude, he handled that as badly as somebody could handle it.
That's true.
The whole about my teammates, the whole love Jacksonville. Hey, I appreciate that, man, but I don't think he faked a back injury. His back hurts. Could have played, obviously.
No, he faked it.
He balled out
He
this
faked
week
it.
with the LA. So, I mean,
He faked it.
I mean, it wasn't about that. Jalen just come out and say, dude, I don't want to be in Jacksonville. I want to be in a bigger market. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like the front office. Cool, bro.
Yeah, well, I think you're right, but
He didn't handle it well, man.
yeah.
Let me see. We got a little issue here with your mic here. Let's see what's going on. Does it need to be more? I can redo that. I'd love to say it again.
No, you're good now.
Okay.
You're good. So we're sitting here, and if you haven't yet followed us on Twitter, we're at Another Jags Pod, and we're on Facebook and Instagram at Another Jags Podcast as well. I've been posting on Instagram, like just video cut-ups, because I've noticed a good response from that.
Always.
So check us out on Instagram. The Jags beat the Bengals, and we put out on Twitter y'all's thoughts. We're going to get to that in a second. Thank you for those comments and questions on Twitter. But the Bengals are pretty bad, right?
The Bengals are awful.
Nothing felt good about this week. Going into the game, I was like, I hate this position because if we win, we should win. And if we lose, then we're a laughing stock.
It was almost like a trap game because it was a must win. We should win. And then at halftime, you're like, ah. But they pulled it out, man. I mean, they showed up. They did what they had to do. But, yeah, you can't really be, like, excited after that, right? It was like the worst win ever. It was almost like you were disappointed with a win.
Yeah, I mean, they ended up opening it up in the fourth quarter. I think they won the fourth quarter 18-7. But, man, that first half was terrible. I mean, a lot of people forget that Minshew in, like, the first drive of the game threw a ball that should have been intercepted inside the red zone.
It was actually 2 by that same DB.
Yeah, number 23, whatever his name is. But we probably should have came away with 0 points a couple times.
Yeah.
And
the red zone was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, that was the drive that Chark was like on the half-yard line, went for it on fourth down. Like that whole drive just was not good, but hey, we got the win nonetheless, and happy to hear it. And
the good thing is it's not college football. I mean,
that's true.
There's not votes that go into
true.
how you win or who you win against. A win is a win in the NFL, and it's a win, dude. We're 3-4.
And it's a road win.
Yeah, and it's a road win.
Yeah.
Exactly. Regardless if they're horrible or not. We did what we were supposed to. We won. So you can't, like, get out your pom-poms, but it's, business as usual. Keep moving forward, and Jets are the same type of deal.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's kick it off with the fans and what y'all think. And we'll start with Shay Jacobs, and he's at @sjacobs_11. He said, we've beaten bad teams and lost to good teams. Have to beat the Texans, and after the bye, let Foles come back and do what he does. Come in late in the year and lead a team to a Super Bowl victory. Also, locker room vibe seems to set up for a win streak. They believe more wins are coming.
I have to agree with a lot of that. I mean, Minshew's whole job is to come in and get us there at, 4-5 or 5-4, something like that. I mean, that's his whole point. If he does that, he's done his job. The kid's played 5 games.
Yeah.
And he's got a couple wins in there. I mean, Foles is going to be back. He's practicing this week. And we're going to be right in there if that happens. I mean, Colts are playing well.
Texans look decent.
Texans look okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's promising.
Yeah. So you think Foles comes back as a starter?
I absolutely think he does at this point. I mean, trust me, I'm a Minshew fan. I think everything he's done is amazing. The guy's super cool. But in games like New Orleans, I mean, against a team like that, I think they had to pull the playbook back a little bit because he's only played 5 NFL games, man.
Yeah.
Foles is going to step in the red zone and in situations to where they can just do what they want to do because he's got that much experience. So it's going to be a completely different situation. Nothing against Minshew, but it's just about the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I think Minshew will be a good quarterback one day.
Absolutely. I think he's a good quarterback now.
Yeah, he's a quarterback
I think
now,
he has the potential to be like a above average, like well above average quarterback. I mean,
Foles has shown us that he's the real deal.
Yeah. No chance they don't. Plus, they're paying him like $50 million this year. So, I mean, kind of got to put him in there.
All right, this next question is from the Kenny, and he's at KNNTHP3. He says, if we really are a team on the rise, we start Minshew the rest of the way and see what we have, while we are still in the fight for the playoffs. I agree with this podcast. We'd likely get bounced in the first round. Let the young guys play, and let's see what we have.
Oh, man. I mean, we know what we have in Minshew, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, he's going to have a good test case for what he is. And then he's that type of guy. He's a mental guy. He's going to pick up stuff from being the backup again at that point. And you go into next season with Foles and a guaranteed guy as a backup. I mean, what better situation is that? I mean, it's like New Orleans almost, man, with
Bridgewater and Breeze.
Yeah,
but that was kind of unprecedented to have a paid backup like that. And a lot of teams were trying to trade for Bridgewater. Do you think the Jags would trade for Minshew?
I hope to God
or trade Minshew?
Don't at this point, man, because we haven't had a good quarterback situation in like 15 years.
But Foles could be good.
Yeah, he could be. But why not hold on to that? That's the whole point of the NFL. You got to have a good quarterback, and we have a really good one and a potentially really good one.
Well, if you can flip Minshew for like a second-round pick or a third-round pick, no, okay.
Don't do it.
Okay,
hold him on the roster, man.
Just wondering.
Do you disagree?
I don't know. I don't know where I stand.
With what we do with our draft picks.
If we're gonna keep Minshew and keep him on the roster forever, why not just trade Foles next year in the offseason?
Well, because Foles is let's see what Foles does when he comes back in, because we have no real
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Okay, this next one is from Patrick Jackson, old P Jack.
Good old P Jack.
Got any words for P Jack?
Man, I missed you, buddy.
He's at _Johansson. He says, today was okay without making much more confident for the rest of the season. There are a lot of better teams than the Bengals who would have punished our lack of scoring in the first half today.
Couldn't said any better myself.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get that win against a good team. But they're not a good team, and we got the win. So, I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, the Patriots, I think, they had like 23 points in the first half, 24 points in the first half. Tonight against the Jets. Yeah.
I just hope the Patriots beat the living crap out of the Jets tonight physically.
Well, it's 24-0 right now at halftime.
I'm talking about physically, beat them up, injuries, because a short week on top of that helps us out on Sunday.
Jason Rat, and he's at Rat HCP. He says he's just happy to get a W. Needed one in my life.
I agree, man. I mean, every win counts, and with what's happened to us as far as Foles going down and the Jalen saga, I mean, the fact that we're 3-4 right now is pretty amazing.
How do you feel about Leonard Fournette? You were a big critic.
I was.
You were a big critic of Leonard Fournette. And
I was.
He's bounced back this year.
He has more than bounced back.
He's the guy that he should be, and that we all thought he was now.
Not just on the field, though.
Off
in the locker room,
yeah.
Every facet, there has not been a more night and day transition between a player last year and this year as far as on the field and his personal life than Leonard Fournette. So, you know what, man? I was wrong. I didn't think he could turn it around. Whatever he did, dude, that guy's our team.
I'd be interested to see how many carries he's had compared to other NFL players in this era, because every game since he's been with the Jags, he's getting close to 30 carries a game.
Yes,
when he's healthy.
31 between catches and carries last week.
Yeah, 29 carries for 131 yards.
Yeah.
29 carries, man, that's a lot in the NFL.
That is a workhorse, and that's what he is.
But he quietly does it. He didn't seem like he was a guy who ran for 131. You're okay, that's good run.
That second half, man, he controlled the game.
Yeah.
Everything ran through him. I mean, it was but you're going against the Bengals D.
You were missing people. And
yeah, but I mean, regardless of that, he has done everything that he is supposed to do, and tenfold on top of that. I was wrong. I'll admit it.
I'd love to hear that, Joey.
You know what else I'll admit I was wrong about? Because I don't say this often.
Let's keep it going.
I'm going to give Jason some props here.
Yes.
And this is going to be about Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, man.
Because I said that guy was a garbage quarterback.
Yep.
He's come in, won every game he started, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and over 1,000 yards. So, hey, he's playing with the Saints, which they're loaded all around.
That's true.
But I was wrong about Teddy B.
It's okay. You know, it's. I'm glad you're admitting that.
Hey,
I'll
admit when I'm wrong, and that's two right there. It might be another 6 months before that happens, but you know what? There's two right there.
I was pounding the drum with get Bridgewater at a fraction of the price as Foles, but I get why they did the Foles thing. It's just, man, like honestly, if you ask me, our offense is very pedestrian.
Yeah.
Like the talent, like DJ Chark, I'll give you is good. Leonard Fournette, I'll give you is good. But those are your top two guys on your offense.
And that's pretty much it.
And that's it,
I mean, Dede stepped up this past week because Chark is getting double teamed.
We literally don't have a tight end. Like we literally don't have a tight end.
We started two. I still don't know their names. They said their names.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Seth the Valve, who was picked up before the season started from the Browns.
I think their guy's name was like Charlotte or something. Like I was listening to on the radio coming back from Atlanta soccer. I was like, dude, who?
Koyak played.
Koyak. Who else besides Koyak that you could name?
Valve. Seth the Valve.
There was three though. There was a third one because they had a couple.
Oliver did play.
Was it Oliver?
Yeah,
okay.
Oliver did play a little bit, and I mean, I saw him out on the field, but he didn't do anything. But yeah, I mean, just as far as like their offensive talent, I think their offensive line is underrated, and I think they will be good once they get it figured out. But it's weird, like
I'll say their offensive line is underrated with run blocking.
Yeah,
which is what we are, so that's good. But their pass blocking, dude, sucks.
Dude, honestly, when Cam Robinson got hurt and Cedric Ogbuehi came in,
actually helped.
He played better.
He did.
He played better, and maybe it's because it was against he was playing the Bengals. There's a little bit of that.
Dude, they have a pass rush. That's the one thing they do have. I mean,
they were missing Carlos Dunlap.
Yeah. So
Gator boy.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too caught up in this game because they.
Yeah, it's not a good test study.
Right. I mean, I think the Bengals had the fourth worst first half point differential, and we were 7-6 at halftime.
Yeah, and they have 0 rushing yards.
And they had the -2. They literally had under 0, which is impossible.
Yeah, I could have gotten 2.
Mike Wilbraham, and he's at Yorkshire Jags, says, we have to be clinical. That Bengals team is awful, and we should have had 40-plus points. Minshew should have had at least 2 picks against him, but got away with it. I'm slowly coming around to Nick Foles being brought back in. Appreciate what Gardner has done. Maybe a little experience is required.
Dude, you cannot say it any better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dead on.
But Minshew's been good, though.
Dude, Minshew's been fantastic.
For a rookie? For a
6th-round draft pick?
Yeah.
Dude, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's no question that Foles is coming back.
Yeah. Unless he, has a perfect game against the Jets and he gets the win in London.
I still think he goes 2-8. I still think
if
Foles
he wins the next 2, you think they bring Foles back in?
I still think they do.
If he wins the next 2 and he plays really well, then the next 2, you think Foles comes back?
I think it takes him winning the next 2, 300-plus yards passing, and maybe 3 touchdowns each game with no interceptions, and it'll be a question. Otherwise, Foles is coming back.
Do you think Minshew could do that?
I do.
So you think there's a chance that...
I think there is a chance that against the Jets and Houston in London that he could do that. I mean, that's what's awesome about him is he could do it.
Yeah.
I don't think he will, but he could.
The O-line looks better. The receiving core looked really good last week.
And there's no guarantee when Foles comes back that he's not going to get hurt again.
And that's true, too. That's a solid point.
They're kind of bringing him back quick. It's not his throwing clavicle. It's the other side, but he's obviously not going to get hit in practice and driven into the field, but he gets a hard hit that could snap again, man.
Yeah.
And if that happens, you know what? We know what we got, and that's good.
Well, we got way more coming from the fans' comments and questions. But before we get to that, we do want to take a quick break. We want to let our sponsors get a word in here. A big shout out to those guys that keep this going. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Hang tight, and we'll be right back after this break. All right, welcome back to another Jags podcast. Episode 89, which is for some random reason, we're on 89. But if you haven't yet followed us on Twitter, we're at Another Jags Pod, Facebook, Instagram, Another Jags Podcast. Make sure you follow us there. I'm joined with Joey tonight. Joey, Jags beat the Bengals.
Which, again, I'm pumped about, man.
Feels good.
A win is a win.
Nothing like seeing Alex Erickson just go for 137.
Again, like I was,
the Hall of Famer Alex Erickson, 8 receptions, but you knew he was going to get his. When you got an All-Pro like Alex Erickson across from you, you know you're going to get his. So
All-Pro, I mean, first team All-Pro.
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Same question I had. Where, again, I was listening to it on the radio, and like I'd mentioned off camera, like I had to pull it up on TuneIn because I was driving, and it was the Bengals like play-by-play call. And so at first I'm like, dude, why are they cheering? I was like, oh wait, it's the Bengals guys. And they were as excited about Erickson doing something as we are now, not knowing who he was. They're like, hey, finally this guy's done something. Dude, he lit us up, man, and nobody's ever heard of him, including their own guys for the most part. So yeah, it was kind of crazy.
I wonder what odds you could get that Alex Erickson plays for the Patriots next year.
He'd probably be a Pro Bowl player for at least 3 years until his contract.
Oh, he will. Tom Brady was watching. Tom Brady had the day off. He's playing tonight. He was watching that game going, this is the guy.
Yeah.
This is the guy for the future for us. So.
Edelman's going to get another 3 concussions. I need Erickson.
Yeah, I don't bring Erickson in. All right, well, this show's about you guys. Let's hit what you guys said on YouTube, okay? Because we had some YouTube comments, and we wanted to get to those. My bad for missing them.
That is your bad.
I'm a rookie.
Yes.
Jags fan Rick says, seeing what the Patriots are doing to the Jets, I think the Jags should be able to win. Got to stop Le'Veon Bell, though. Look, honestly, if we could stop Joe Mixon, like I know the Bengals' offensive line isn't that good, but Joe Mixon is a better back than Le'Veon Bell. Right now.
Absolutely.
Like
the problem I have though is that the Jets have gotten better every week. Like they continue to get better.
Well, when they got Darnold back, they look significantly better. But besides tonight, I mean, I think they're.
But you can't compare anything to the Patriots right now. I mean, like you look at the entire NFL, and there's the Patriots and everybody else.
That's true. 49ers look good too.
They put up 9 points on Washington. I had a buddy put a bet in Vegas. I'm a little bitter about this. I'm going to throw it out there. I've never made a sports bet in my entire life. I was like, hey, Thursday the spread was like 3.5. I'm like, at Washington, 3.5? There's no way. So Saturday night I was like, hey, you're in Vegas. Hey, put $50 on San Fran. Driving back on Sunday, I'm like, they won by 9. Awesome. He's like, hey, the spread was 10.5 at that point. I'm like, how they not score more than 9 points?
The spread was 10.5. Yeah. Oh. That's bad.
That's why Vegas's lights are super bright.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Antonio Riviera says Foles best his best late season. At this point, I'm not sure what the Jags honestly could and couldn't do sometimes. The penalty on defense, they never play together, and the penalties are atrocious.
At this point, I'm not sure what that question even means.
It's not a question, it's a comment.
Okay.
I think he's saying Foles is his best late in the season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's shaping up to fit perfectly is what he's saying.
Ideal situation. It's like, 2 years ago, Cinderella story. I mean, he comes back in and pulls it out, hopefully.
Minshew looks good running, man. How did the Bengals not – we're watching the game again. How did the Bengals not keep him in the pocket, contained? Do what the Saints did.
Because they're not the Saints, man. The Saints D is like top 3 or 4 in the league.
Look at this. They're rushing 2 guys in the middle. Look at that huge gap that Minshew can just run through.
Of course they did, but the Saints had one guy. Whoever that one guy was that had 3 sacks, that's it, man.
Yeah, Cam Jordan.
Yeah.
Antonio Rivera also says, does Norwell get dumped at the end of the season?
I guess it depends on who you ask.
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does either.
He's super overpaid, but there's times like – he's a couple times in the game where I was like, oh, nice, Andrew Norwell. And there was other times where I was like, oh.
And again, he's way better on run blocking than he is on pass blocking.
Yeah.
And it's, again, our MO that we are a run-first team.
Yeah.
And if Fournette keeps playing like that, there's no way to get rid of him because he opens up holes for him.
Yeah, and honestly, Norwell flashes. I mean, he was bad against the Saints, and he was bad the week before that. But honestly, like, you're already paying him. He's already under contract. You've already guaranteed his money.
You're not going to get anybody better.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. You're not going to get much better than him.
No.
Not at left guard,
And I think we need other offensive line positions filled before him. But I guess the question should be: is Linder gone next year?
Yeah, I mean, look at Norwell. He's pulling here.
Yeah, he pulls well. Giant hole.
Yeah,
giant hole.
Him and Will Richardson do a great job pulling, and they
and
open
they
up
actually work really well together.
Yeah. So, yeah, there is times he looks atrocious and causes us drives, but there's also, like you said, I don't know if there's much of an upgrade out there.
No. And they're also Leonard Fournette stats. Like if you look at him running to the left versus the right, to the left he's averaging like 7 yards per carry, and to the right he's averaging like 3 yards per carry. So there's a reason for that. It's not that he's more comfortable running to the left than the right. It's because the left is blocking better than the right.
Jags fan Rick says Darnold is a pick machine tonight. He's at least third turnover, 1 by fumble, and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, the Patriots D is what, like 4th in the league?
Yeah.
Something
no, like first, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think they're really.
I was trying to soften it a little bit. I mean, Darnold's been back for 2 games. He's still kind of a rookie because he was out a bunch last year too. I mean,
we got a text that said we misspelled the word defeat in our running header on YouTube.
I would say that Jason misspelled the word defeat because I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
I believe it. Look, if you
was it D F-E-A-T?
I have no clue.
Or like,
no, I probably I have
hyphen?
no clue. I can't see from here.
Okay,
but if you follow the Twitter, like some people have told us they have Twitter notifications. So whenever our podcast tweets, they get a notification saying that we tweeted.
Well, they obviously have YouTube notifications as well because we got comments immediately.
But you know what they tell me all the time is like, "Hey, you have a typo." And
Come on, this is a football show.
I am not good at proofreading my tweets. I send so many texts and emails a day. I just type them and fire them off without proofreading. And I get to that habit with the Twitter. But I will be better about proofreading it. I apologize, people. I swear I can spell. Like I can spell. It's not an issue of spelling.
Yeah, Jason, you're better than that, man.
All right, if you're wondering where we're getting these live comments, they're on YouTube. You can watch this episode live on YouTube if you're listening to the podcast. Just search us on YouTube at Another Jags Podcast, and you can watch Joey and me sitting here talking about the Jags.
Yeah, and Jason may or may not see the comments.
I may or may not. Maybe say it 4 or 5 times. Maybe if I don't do it. This next comment on Twitter is from Brent Papineau, and he's at Brent Papineau, and he says, "What has happened to the offense? The numbers look good, but we played subpar. Wide receivers don't seem to help Minshew like they did before, coming back when he's scrambling. Why even try to run Fournette to the right? Was Oliver's number even called? Need to know what we have there."
I'd have to agree with the running Fournette to the right. I mean, you kind of got to every once in a while to keep the defense on their toes, but it doesn't work well ever. I mean, I think, dude, defensive coordinators are smart. Like, they're going to watch tape. I mean, they didn't have any tape on Minshew. And a lot of our wide receivers they didn't even look at probably because they've done nothing up until this point. So they've watched the tape. They've kind of figured it out, and it gets harder as the games goes on. And I think that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah, I think you're right. There, you get tips on guys, and I think he's a smart enough guy to not show tendencies and things like that. But
I will say this,
I think he learned his lesson.
I will say this, though. It was impressive to finally see it because, I mean, Chark's been a stud this year. Like, he's been the breakout receiver, and I really thought Dede was going to be based off last year. It was finally good to see the double teams that Chark were getting equal Dede actually having some production. Because, I mean, dude, he was a heck of a slot. Like, he was the guy last week. I mean.
Yeah, and the trap is to get caught up in stats and numbers. Stats don't tell the story. Look at Taven Bryan. Taven Bryan had his best game. You know that, right? You know Taven Bryan had his best game.
If you can't see my huge grin, it's because Jason's absolutely right. He finally showed up as a pro football player.
Again,
which gives us some hope.
They played the Bengals.
But dude, it's something.
Yeah, Taven
you got to
Bryan
be happy
up.
about his performance because he did some stuff.
Okay, but anyways, stats. Look, if you look at the Bengals receiving numbers, like we talked about, Alex Erickson 137 yards, Auden Tate 65 yards, Tyler Boyd 55 yards. That was who I was afraid of. I was afraid. We did a poll heading into the game. I was terrified of the DBs versus their receivers because I think Auden Tate is a good receiver. I think Tyler Boyd's a good receiver.
Tate's a very good receiver.
And look, they got yards, but they couldn't score.
Yeah, they were junkyards.
Yeah.
And they dropped balls in key situations because of pressure on Dalton, pressure on them. I mean, what about Hayden?
DJ Hayden?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the like really
he stepped up.
He did. I mean, he made some like I mean, you call him a nickel, but nickel's what, like 90% of the plays at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a starter at nickel, and everybody pays attention to the outside DBs, but dude, that guy made the fumble. Like, dude, he's legit.
DJ Hayden, there's a couple guys that I was dead wrong about. You had your little apology session earlier.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys I was dead wrong about. It doesn't happen very often because usually I'm fairly good at evaluating talent.
Usually Jason sits on the fence enough to where
that's true.
I
can claim either side. That's true. But I was not a big fan of DJ Hayden. To be fair, though,
who could have been at like Oakland though?
Yeah, and when he was at Detroit, a lot of his film came from him playing on the outside. I didn't see one snap him playing in slot.
Good point. He
has solidified himself as one of the top slot defensive backs in the league.
I might say the top.
Guaranteed.
Like the top.
He blitzes. For how undersized he is, he tackles really well.
He's in the right spot almost all the time.
And he wraps up and he doesn't get beat. And look, DJ Hayden has stepped up in the absence of Jalen Ramsey. He saw it as an opportunity. Look, Trey Herndon, after the Broncos game, we all thought that Trey Herndon was going to be the biggest liability on the field. But it's not turned out to be the case.
Hasn't been.
Yeah, and he's been good, and he's been okay. Ronnie Harrison got himself an interception last week.
Yeah,
like
he's got 2 on the year.
Yeah, these defensive backs are coming around, and I was worried about the DBs, the linebackers, the O-line, the receivers, the tight ends, and now I have a little more faith in the DBs. I have a little more faith in the linebackers. I have a little more faith in the receivers. I'm still a little worried about the tight end position, though.
I'm a lot worried. I mean, I've been saying that for 2 years now.
Yeah, but we haven't had a tight. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. We still don't have.
Think back to last year when Blake Bell was getting snaps and things like that. Like we've never been a team that needs a tight end that's flashy. These guys that can block and they do what they got to do. And
I think the O'Shaughnessy injury is going to come back to bite us, man. I mean, he was making the turn, making the leap, if you want to call it. We don't have an offensive tight end.
I don't think they want one.
You gotta have one though.
You
look at our red zone situation this past week.
That's true. I mean, that's a good point. Does a tight end help you there? That's a good point.
It does, man.
But then again, if you can't get in on 4th and a half yard, then I don't think tight end's the issue.
I don't see why they don't put Connolly in that role.
Well, Connolly finally had himself a good game.
He did, but he's a big dude, man. Throw him in there as a tight end on that kind of play, and another wide receiver out there.
I don't know if he's a good. Blocker. I don't know. I like it better when they were bringing in Obuehi as an extra tackle. When they were doing that in the Broncos game. Bringing him as an eligible tackle. I liked that. I mean, Fournette, that was his first game. He kind of went wild, and I liked that. And obviously they couldn't do that because Cam Robinson got hurt, but we'll see what happens with that. Man, Cam Robinson might have lost his job.
Yeah, plus he's hurt, in quotation marks.
Well, those Jaguar trainers can't heal a hamstring for some reason.
Those Alabama trainers.
Yeah.
Let's go have immediate surgery.
All right, Alex Motes on Twitter, and he is at Lincoln Stofat1. Says, I'm seeing development. Most losses are within a score of wins. Taven is emerging into a normal 29th overall expected time frame. Fournette, thumbs up. Josh Allen playing most plays. Minshew isn't letting his temporary confidence drop affect him, and Jan is emerging. Plus, we have drafts set or picks.
Yeah, I mean, all good points. I mean, Allen's got the most sacks through starting games than any guy in his position in Jaguar history. So, yeah, he's definitely fulfilling his role.
That sack he had against the Bengals,
dude, it was a straight
beautiful.
Speed sack. It was just like, I'm going to sack you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like he was being held.
Yeah,
and he still got it. Like, it was beautiful,
dude. That guy, no question. I mean,
yeah. We're gonna get to a question about redrafting this year and would you take Josh Allen? We'll get to that in a second because I have to find it, but.
I would like that one.
All right, let's find it for you.
Might change my opinion.
We'll see. Let's see here.
All right.
Okay. Still looking.
That might be my third thing. I'll admit I was wrong on because I was not happy immediately when I heard that.
Okay. I'm just gonna jump to this question because I can't find it, and I thought this is where it was, so we'll just jump to this one. This was from David Elizondo, and he's at Elizondo David, and he says, I noticed something on the Ngakoue pick 6. He bumps into the Bengals running back at the line and immediately knows it's a screen and stops the running back and looks for the ball. 91 didn't just luck out of that ball drop to him. His eyes go straight to the quarterback, then the ball after bumping into the running back.
Yeah, that's fantastic because that's 100% what he didn't do last year. I'm like, he was out of position so many times, the wrong angle, the wrong play. I mean, good for him.
I asked this question to Mike like a week ago. How would you feel about Ngakoue if in the offseason he got a $100 million contract?
By us?
Yeah.
Be a horrible contract.
Would you be pissed?
Very pissed.
But that's what everyone wanted. Everybody wanted Ngakoue to get his money.
Yeah.
And through week 6,
he had 2 sacks.
7.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, including this last game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would he have warranted that contract? And would have fans hated him if he was $100 million guy?
I still would have, because he's yet to show up in a big game. He disappears in games. That's my problem with him, is that he's undersized and he is a workhorse, and I love him as a player. I love him as a player with the contract they offered him at the beginning of the year. Because, dude, he absolutely disappears in games. And you can't be that guy and get paid that. You can't disappear.
Yeah. You're right. I agree. I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I think Josh Allen has played himself into a starting spot over Ngakoue.
Absolutely.
Ngakoue is a great player. And everyone wants to say, why not have both? Look, is there a way to scheme to where they're both on the field? Yeah, you could probably get creative. But teams like to run a strong side and a weak side defense. And Ngakoue and Josh Allen, they're just not, but they don't fit on the field at the same time together right now. They're both trying to win with speed. They're trying to chase down the run from the backside. You can't have two of those guys.
No.
You got to have one guy that can set the edge on the strong side. And yeah, you would want your best players on the field. Now, if we ran some sort of 3-4 where one was a D end and one was an outside linebacker,
yeah, we're never.
But we're not.
That.
But that's not what we're doing. That's not what we are.
Yeah.
We're not that. So.
And again, the problem is that why everybody loved Yannick is that he's a team guy. Like, he works his butt off. He's not an off-field issue. Like, he just does everything you're supposed to do, but so does Allen. But he's bigger, faster, stronger, and has better instincts.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just better.
Better player.
Yeah.
I mean, after the whole Jalen Ramsey thing, I mean, nobody wants any part of any of these
Why
guys.
you gotta bring that back up, man?
I don't know.
I'm
still bitter now. Antonio Rivera on YouTube Live says, Minshew hasn't looked the same without Oshag Hennessy.
Well, that's a great point. Kind of made that 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I agree, man. I mean, dude, everyone but the absolute best quarterbacks need that dump off guy. They need that safety net, whether it's a 5-yard, 7-yard, a red zone play. And even the best quarterbacks use them like crazy. We don't have that. I mean, somebody's got to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, even the best quarterbacks have good tight ends. Like,
they do.
You think back to those guys, and they have good tight ends. I found the question about Josh Allen. It's from Rodney Marner, and he's at Rodney_Marner. He says, I have a question. If you go back, do you still take Josh Allen, or do you take someone else in the draft?
I didn't like the pick at the time because, again, I wanted us to go somewhere on the offense side of things because our defense was so good. But at this point, man, no, that was amazing. Like, that guy is a franchise player.
Look, I wanted Juwan Taylor at that pick, and he ended up being there in the second round.
Which, again, another stud player.
So here are the guys that went immediately after the Jags, just to remind everybody.
Yeah, let's throw it out there because I have a short memory.
The Lions picked the next pick and took T.J. Hawkinson.
Which
he's been good.
He flashed huge.
He flashed big. Yeah. The next pick, the Bills picked Ed Oliver. The Steelers picked Devin Bush. The Bengals picked Jonah Williams, who obviously is out for the year. Green Bay Packers picked Rashawn Gary. Miami Dolphins picked Christian Wilkins. There's Dwayne Haskins. There's Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Noah Fant, Andre Dillard, Josh Jacobs, running back for the Raiders, Montez Sweat.
Heck of a pick.
I like it. I like Josh Allen. I'll take Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's going to be the best player in the draft. Yeah. Unless, look, I can see Daniel Jones popping off.
He's shown that.
Yeah, I can see him popping off.
I thought that guy was going to be an absolute dumpster fire, and he's shown he's got something.
Yeah. So, but
no, that was the pick. Like, they nailed that.
Yeah. No, they did. They did. And
probably the first.
Admittedly, we were both kind of like,
dude, we were like blown away
because he wasn't on our radar.
Yeah.
And it's still weird because we already just talked about how are they going to work in Ngakoue and Allen together. It's weird.
Well, they don't need to. They free up a bunch of cap space by not paying Ngakoue, and they use that to pay other guys, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to make a lot of people mad, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's, part of football. You got to manage your cap salary, and the teams that do it the best end up winning. The teams that know when to get rid of players end up being.
I mean, you can't complain about no tight ends, somewhat maybe decent offensive line, the receiving core not being studdish, linebackers lack of depth, and then re-sign 2 of the same guys.
Yeah.
And pay Ngakoue $1 bajillion when you got to pay. You just can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good time for our our second and final break.
Got to pay the sponsors.
Yeah, we're just gonna let them get a quick word in here. I've lost track of who the sponsors are at this point.
I mean, it's been a while for me, but last time around it was MyBookie.
I think MyBookie's still involved. Honestly,
I'm pretty sure that's where we got the extra 26 cents on our last
from our
check,
ad.
Was I downloaded the app and put our name in there? I honestly think so.
Yeah.
Well, because there is a chance. Like, where'd you hear of us? And I put our podcast in there, and
I like that. I need to
26 cents times like 100. That's some dollars.
So yeah, if you're listening out there, make sure to support our sponsors. Look, if you can listen, you can watch us on YouTube live. If you want, you can also listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. Look, we've done a lot of changing recently. Like, basically, just for the fans to know, we basically got bought out by a couple different podcast people.
Kind of getting pulled in different directions.
So I have no idea where we even are syndicated, where our ads are. No idea.
But
it's a great place to be.
YouTube, iTunes.
I don't do
Twitter.
anything anymore. We just record. We just record now.
Record and it goes in every direction.
Goes into the intraverse.
It does.
Interwebs.
It's called the iNet.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening. We're taking one more quick break. We're going to hit a couple more questions, and who knows how segment 3 will go. All right. Hang tight. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to another Jags podcast. We are talking about the Bengals. We're talking about the upcoming game against the Jets. We're talking about how the Jags look. We're getting your questions, your comments, all those sorts of things. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all our social medias. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel so you can get the alerts when we are live. All right, heading back to your Twitter questions. And you guys were pretty opinionated after this last game against the Bengals, which we won. No Toes Down, and they're at No Toes Down, says, has Fournette developed better vision, or are the holes he's running through obvious?
I think he's matured a bit. I mean, he started off the season with like the happy feet, the trying to dance around and not be him. But I think at this point, like he's kind of waiting for the holes, and then he's power running through them. Like he's running downhill again and wanting to light people up. I think more than anything, it looks like, dude, he's back to him like, I'm going to run over you. Nobody wants to tackle him first.
Yeah.
And I think that's the major difference. There might be some more holes. I mean, I'm sure an occasion there is, but it's more of him just powering through is what I see.
I know he's getting the same volume as carries as he always does, but he seems to be more influential in the pass game. And they're giving him the ball in space. And since he's slimmed down a little bit, he's able to make players miss in space, which is something that he hasn't done ever. And again, kind of like No Toes Down said, he's seeing the lanes better. And he's feeling thinner. You can see at times he forgets that he's like slimmed down. He thinks he's still that LSU back and tries to run through people.
It still works most of the time.
And, yeah, it can still work, but
I would say this though, like you could compare him to McCaffrey, honestly, as far as yards from scrimmage. I mean, McCaffrey is obviously better at the pass game, but their numbers are pretty similar.
I wish Fournette could line up in the slot and run a quick out and just catch it. And
he's not that guy.
I know that's what McCaffrey is.
But
McCaffrey can get out there and just like dominate from anywhere on the field.
But coming into the Jags, nobody thought he could catch out of the backfield at all because he never did it in college.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's matured a lot.
Duval Hot Takes, and they're at Duval Hot Takes. They do a great podcast on the Big Cat Country feed themselves. They said Minshew Mania is kind of like your special thing. You and your significant other. I should have read this.
Let's bust it out.
I should have read this before. Okay. Minshew Mania is kind of like your, quote, special thing you and your significant other do during sex. And now it's not special anymore.
That's a little racy for our podcast, but we didn't ask the question. They did.
I didn't proofread. I didn't read it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you could like water that down a little bit.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I mean,
it's still special, right?
It still is special. And the reason being is like when he came out, no expectation. It was like our season is over. And you're like, holy crap. Like this guy's got something.
Yeah.
And he's still playing kind of the similar ball, but you expect more out of him, and that's normal.
And we apologize because I know we do have a lot of families that listen to us on the way to school. So maybe for the podcast, we'll edit out this part just because, look, not because we're soft.
Probably should.
Not that we're soft, but
and honestly, it was a pretty crap question. Who was that?
Duval Hot Takes.
Duval Hot Takes.
Yeah.
Come on, that's not very hot.
They look, we can handle the question, but like we do get a lot of people tell us that they listen to this podcast like with their kids, and they enjoy us because they can listen to it with their kids. And we don't want to force you to have that talk right now with your kids. So
yeah, that'll be edited out.
If you're watching this on the YouTube, just make sure.
But honestly,
with your kids,
the tame down question is relevant though. It's when he came out again. Nobody expected anything like this guy. Who ever heard of him? And 6th round, and dude, and he's balled ever since, and he's still balling. But he's still a rookie with limited experience, man. So it's like it's kind of come to that middle ground. If he's a good quarterback, that's what he is.
Antonio Rivera wants to know, is it possible to get rid of that boat jersey on the wall?
No.
Hard no. Look, I understand people aren't happy with Blake. But when we reflect on Bortles for the next 10, 20 years, it's going to be nothing but good memories, I think.
Especially when Goff goes down with an injury this year and Ramsey has to play with Bortles again. It's going to be the greatest moment of my life.
Look, we had to take the Jalen jersey down. We had a Jalen jersey. We had to take the Ramsey jersey down, which was sad.
The boat left on good terms.
Yeah,
man.
look.
He gave us everything he had. It wasn't his problem that he got drafted out of his realm.
Did Blake Bortles fake a back injury, demand to be traded?
Blake Bortles would have played with a broke arm.
Exactly.
It's DC's fault. It's not Blake's fault.
Is it his fault he got drafted early?
Exactly.
Look, come on. You can't blame Blake for that.
Come on now.
Blake's welcome here anytime he wants.
Absolutely.
He's the guy. Everyone loves Blake. In the national media,
dude,
every fan base likes Blake Bortles.
He gave us the greatest season we've had since.
Exactly. And they wore those jerseys, and they wore that color, and that's why.
So again, answer is no. Yeah. I agree.
Nolan Harmon, and he's at nharm1, says Jags will be 5-4 heading into the bye. We'll make the wild card game at 10-6.
I think that's very possible.
I don't think so, but I would love that.
I don't think it'll be 10-6, but
I would love it, dude.
I think we could probably win the division in less than that, but I don't know.
Look, I picked them to go 10-6 at the beginning of the year.
I said 8-8.
So I was optimistic, and I hope it still happens. And Nolan, if they do, I'm giving you credit.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Keith Caparelli disagrees with that projection, and he's at Keith Caparelli, and he says, I think the team finishes 9-7 and just misses a wild card spot. Still too inconsistent game to game, and penalties will continue to haunt us.
Why you got to be so realistic, man?
That's it. I think dude, honestly, 9-7.
9-7 I'd be ecstatic about.
That's a good pick. I mean, that's it. Nick Warren, and he's at Nick Warren 32, says a little bit of yikes in the first half, but a lot of yeehaw in the second half.
Where's he from?
Okay, let's see here. Let's click on his name here, and we'll just get a quick guess. It says his bio is on Jaw. It's his bio, and his picture is him on the beach with another dude.
Wow. Yikes and yeehaw. I mean, but that's dead on. The first half, I mean, but that's kind of been that way for a lot of it. I mean, Denver game was the same way. I mean, it's like slow starts, look like we're feeling the pressure of everything, and then the second half you come in and ball. So I mean, is that coaching? Like, are we making like halftime adjustments? Is it? It's got to be, right? I mean,
I have also noticed the fact that they come out super sluggish every game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we do not come out hot ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's play calling. Maybe it's being conservative to start with and trying to not make mistakes, and you got to open it up when you're down. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
That's a good point. You come out trying to be conservative, not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Minshew's done a good job not turning the ball over. He's had his fumbles, but I mean, as far as
he's getting rocked and he can't see it.
But he's not throwing stupid balls over the field.
He doesn't make bad decisions for the most part. That's for sure.
And we always talked about if we had a quarterback that would just manage the game and not turn the ball over and give our defense a chance to win, that we would be in every game. And here we are
have been
in every game.
Yeah, absolutely every game. And that's the exciting part about it. I mean, you look at the games we lost, and hey. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? I mean, it's we were in every single game except for the KC game, and you know what? I mean, it's KC at their prime.
Yeah, and the Saints game got a little away from us there at the end, but Saints again are a good team. Texans
are a Super Bowl contender.
Absolutely. Texans were a half yard away from winning.
Should have won that one.
You know, it's
Carolina had a chance to win it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Leon Fletcher, and he's at Leon_Fletcher, says, more O-line dominating. We should pick up the best O-lineman in the draft or the second best O-lineman in the draft.
Honestly, I have to agree, man.
You can't have too many good offensive linemen.
No,
that's
you
what
can't.
I always say. And by always say, I mean I'm going to start always saying. I mean, we got like you said, we got Linder on a contract that's probably going to expire soon. Norwell, we're probably going to cut bait in 2 years or a year after this year, after next year. So we're looking at two pretty big holes. Who knows what you're getting from Cam Robinson?
But, I mean, you got some young guys like Cam, like Juwan. I mean, you got some young talent, too, though. So, I mean, it's...
Richardson's looked good.
Richardson's looked great.
Look, that was another guy that I was like, didn't see a lot on film.
And who in the, like, a bajillion years would think rotating your offensive line would work? I mean, it's all about cohesion, right?
Right.
That's what everybody says. It's all about getting to know to play together.
Yeah.
But it actually works for us to do that. But, yeah, I mean, there's no way we can keep Linder and Norwell. I mean, I think, dude, yeah, just some beefcakes on offensive line.
Yeah, and the teams with the best offensive line always seem to be the best.
It's all about the ditches, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, our D-line is stacked for a while. O-line, look, they've put their resources into the defensive and offensive line. They've done the formula to win.
Yeah.
They didn't get the returns on Norwell. They've yet to get returns on Taven Bryan, but they knew it was going to be a while for Taven Bryan.
Yeah.
Cam Robinson's not really working out. He had the unfortunate knee injury.
He's injured again.
Yeah, but
maybe this is like Alabama snap surgery decisions to get him back on the field.
Boy, I wish we had those guys, but
I mean, I agree. I think offensive line. I think you have to go tight end, man. Nobody wants to go tight end early, but just do it.
how do you think Hawkinson would have done on this team?
He would be a star.
Yeah,
He'd probably be our second leading receiver at this point.
yeah.
It'd be Chark and Hawkinson, and then DD with like less catches than he has because of Hawkinson.
We could always go get Alex Erickson in free agency this year. Apparently, he's the best receiver in the NFL. You didn't hear?
I'm trying to draft him on a fantasy team. I got a waiver in for him right now.
All right, well, just real quick before we'll wrap it up. Thoughts on the Jets game? Should win, could win, gotta win. What is it?
It's a gotta win. It's a should win. But honestly, man, I'm scared because again, like they're starting to put it together.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some components. Their components are back all together, and they got some weapons. I mean, you know, Bengals can't run the ball on anybody. So yeah, we looked great against the run, but teams that can run the ball, we don't look good against.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, Bell is a good runner and he could light us up, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well, which we don't cover well.
And you know they're going to try to get Le'Veon going.
Absolutely.
So they're going to try that. Look, Robbie Anderson's, you know, he can go off on you randomly. Sam Darnold, you never know what you're getting out of him. The offensive line's not horrible. You know?
I still think we win, though, man. I think it's like a 21-13 or something like that. Ugly first half, kind of like the Bengals, and we pull it out.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're sitting at 4-4, what are your expectations for the rest of the season?
Dude, I think if we're sitting at 4-4, we definitely have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're great in England, and we're playing Houston, who we almost beat.
Yeah, should have.
And Foles is back, and the second half of our schedule is a cakewalk compared to the first half of our schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we got the Colts twice, but outside of that, dude, we're not playing New Orleans. We're not playing Kansas City. So I think we have a good chance at it, man.
I think our biggest challenge is just going to be our own division. I mean, the way the Colts and Texans are playing, like, we're going to have to really play well and beat them in both of the next games we play with them.
Yeah, we got to at least split with the Colts, and we have to beat the Texans in England. I mean, talk about a must-win. That is a must-win.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think we'll do well, though. I think we'll be fine.
We always do. Just stay out of the clubs at 1 o'clock with not paying your tab.
Well, Barry Church isn't there, so.
Good point.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening or watching another Jags podcast. We will catch up with you guys later this week. Maybe do a little short little mailbag episode. Make sure to hit us up on Twitter if you have questions or comments. Make sure to hit us up on YouTube. Subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes if you don't mind. We love our 5-star rating, and we want to keep it there. And remember, guys, this is all about you. So send us with your thoughts. Send us your questions, everything like that. We'll talk about that. Thank you all the interaction we had, YouTube Live, everything. We will see you guys in a couple days. And as always,
go Jags.
Go Jags.